Hey everybody, it's Bust, continuing our playthrough of the Path of Champions. To date, we're going to be doing battle with the 2-star Annie and taking on the 3-star Quest, the Daughter of the Void, doing battle up against Kaisa. And so, if we take a look at our Annie real quick, she has upgraded herself to 2-star powers, so she gains the additional +1 starting mana along with a round start, adding a Guile to your hand. Our champion level is up to 15, and for our relics, we're using the same ones as the previous video. The create a fleeting copy of the champion in your hand at the beginning of round start, and then when summoned, refill your spell mana. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into battle. And so this is an interesting one in this new adventure. This was released with the new set, whatever the I can never remember the name of the new set. Rise of the Void, Rise of the Shadows, Ghost Party, Gwen set, whatever you're calling it these days. The new adventure is here. And what I've kind of found with this one is you have to be able to deal with something big, right? Kaisa tends to grow her units exceptionally large. And then you'll also see a lot of the various rock bear battles to where you need to be able to take down one big unit, and then you're pretty much okay. But you also need to have a fairly decent early game to be able to deal with Irelia. She comes in and just spikes a bunch of damage at you very quickly. This tends to be one of those encounters where it feels like if you start at 30 health, you should be pretty okay. But if you don't manage your health along the way and you're at like 12 or 15 or something when you hit Irelia, you're just going to get blasted by the blades and taken down. And so you need to have reasonable early game, some interactivity, and then one way to deal with your opponent's large units. But fortunately, Annie is pretty good at all of that. She has the ability to kill things with disintegrate, and so I did have to stop. I had to pause because I know with the previous Annie video, I took duplicate and we just completely smashed through it. And so if you're looking for the easy route, this is going to be the way to do it. You just take duplicate and go. I want something to be a little bit more low to the ground, a little bit more realistic in your expectations of what you're going to be seeing in battle. So I'm actually going to come over here and take Quick Draw, the common relic or the common power. Cards you draw cost 1 less this round, and this has a lot of interesting kind of abilities with our deck. I think it's going to make our Guiles cost 0, and then overall, as we generate spells and maybe have a card draw or 2 in our deck, it should give us some good bonuses. And so again, if you're looking to just ease your way through, Duplicate is one of the most powerful powers in the game. It would have been very easy, but I wanted to go a little bit more synergistic here and take the cards you draw cost 1 less. So okay, into battle. When the foe gets the attack token, they summon a Roiling Sands. Easy peasy. Now the Roiling Sands does give the opponent's strongest unit +1/+1 when summoned, and then +1/+1 when it's destroyed. And so it's not just like easy mode or the simple Roiling Sands, if you will. It's a little bit stronger here. Okay, so with these, the way I'll kind of approach all of these games is I just hard mulligan for Annie. She's just the central component to all of our strategies, and I want to make sure we have Annie anytime we can. See, now this is the space the Roiling Sands has. When summoned or destroyed, grant your strongest ally +1/+1. And so we are going to have to watch ourselves here just a little bit, but I think we have enough mana to be able to keep him locked down under Guile. And then we can look to, maybe we just look to disintegrate this guy. So he's going to come into combat and block. I think that's okay. Okay, but after this turn, right, we have Annie on board, so we're going to be generating an Annie every turn. That's going to give us a disintegrate every turn, and so we can deal with most of our opponent's big units. And then kind of, if you need to, you can block with your Annie on board, and so that comes into play as we fight Irelia. If she has a really big attacker, or just Irelia herself, we can throw away an Annie to replay another Annie, and then of course, since we play with this refill your spell mana, you can look to use Annie to generate some mana for your turn. So if you can, say, spend all of your spell mana, block with her in combat, then replay another one, you might find yourself with +2 mana for the round. All right, well here, let's just go ahead and get a stun. I was hoping that that power we took was going to make all of our Guiles free. That's not the way it works, but a good learning experience for everyone. All right, we might be able to lethal this round. We've gotten to the point to where the captive greybacks come into play and then summon another captive greyback. So just tons and tons of damage we can spew in this turn. I think we're pretty close. Let's actually, I was thinking if we wanted to play for value and guile the ephemeral, but I think we're just going to end this turn. I want to stun out his stats so he's just not dealing as much damage to us. Game says we're coming in for neg 24. It should be enough to end the game. All right, neg 17 into 15. We did it, fam. We did it. All right, victory is ours. I think we still haven't hit the point to where we get items on our round 1 card. Let's see. Maybe we have. We're at 15 now. It seems like we should have hit it at this point. Yeah, these have items on it. And so what do we want to take here? I don't really feel like we need Scorched Earths. This is something to where we get a very similar thing out of Disintegrate, so it's not that important. Speaking of late game, this is kind of the ultimate late game you could look for here in Glorious Evolution with Invoke attached to it. But this is pretty expensive. I tend to just look for, say, like a mid-rangey kind of champion and call it a day. I don't think we need to go for the 10 cost unit here. Then Mechanized Mimic, I'm usually not excited about unless we have Elusive. She should get overwhelmed most of the time, but I think I'm just going to re-roll these and look for something a little bit on the cheaper end of the spectrum. Okay, so you do always have to watch for Disintegrates. We have access to so many Disintegrates, these always tend to be pretty good. And so all of our Annies that we generate every turn would give us access to this Fabricator. I usually look for like a card advantage-y kind of one, like a draw a card or a manifest or something, so I'm not really interested in the item. I'm actually pretty interested in this Smash and Dash. Just having a big 6/6 unit is strong in and of itself, but it's pretty good against... It's pretty good once we get into, say, the Irelia battle, and he's able to block 2 sets of blades before it dies in combat. It just helps us really preserve our health, and he can come down on turn 2 since we have the +1 mana now. Okay, so what do we think about these? We do have some skill generation and misfortune. Annie loves seeing that. Crackshot Corsair also works fantastically with Annies. I don't want to go after Rek'Sai. I'm just not a huge fan of chasing after lurkers in these. And then there's Nami down here to the end, which is kind of interesting in that we have that refill your spell mana when we cast Annie. So Nami is going to just like immediately get these bonuses, but I feel like she's going to be like an exceptional amount of work here. This is Tidal Wave, right? Like Ebb and Flow. Ebb and Flow is the one I prefer with Annie. That's the Nami flip. Just gives you three abilities off of 1 card. But all right, let's go with the Misfortune here. Okay, and then what do we have in terms of our follow-up items? We have a Champion Item Chest. This is what I usually chase after with for Annie, just to make sure we have more copies of her to try and hard draw for. A shop or a spell chest. Yeah, we'll go towards Annie. I don't think this is too tough of a battle. Foe creates a lucky find in hand. That's a go tall strategy, so we should be okay with our Disintegrates. All right. The Profiteer. You won't be profiting off us today. LOL. Alright, let's mulligan all this away and look for Annie. She didn't turn up. A little unfortunate. It's tempting to just pass and see if we can bank some mana. I think I still feel the same about this. Like, our hand is not a good start. Maybe we have to play the Spellslinger just to get our opponent's units off board. Just like Annie gets everything rolling, right? She gives you all of that mana. She's interactive early. She gets the skills going. Really sucks when you don't draw her.
Let's go, Fang.
But let's get things moving now. The cards we draw are going to cost one less, so hopefully we can just start churning some dudes down early. Okay. Play a 5-2. Watch this. I'm going to play a 6-6. I ain't scared. This should full clear their board after we disintegrate the Rockhopper. Now we look strong. Got big booms of damage coming in next turn with our captive Greybacks. I dig it. He's probably just gonna have to trade away his unit. Then hopefully we can just guile his starting play on his next turn, and then the game will just be over at that point. Right, we get all these big boys down. He's probably got to block with the captive or with the Callous Bone Crusher. He does. Takes a bunch of damage. Now it's going to go to his turn. If he has to spend all of his mana on another Callous Bone Crusher, we get the huge tempo play in the Guile. It should be enough for this to be dunzos.
Doesn't look like much.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's the time for that kind of emote. We'll bring the Laser Kitty just to show you we mean business. The Spell Shield, just a little late, my friend. Alright, some ephemeral on ephemeral blocking. Alright, looking good. I'm still just going to play both of our units, but this should be enough to make things end.
Whoa! I can see the magic.
It's apparently payday. Challenger and a Ruinous Path. Okay.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
Here we go. Ready to get that lethal. Make 20 into 8. We did it. Good game, Profiteer. Good game.
That's how we do things in Bilgewater.
All right, so let's see what we can stack onto our Annie. Something spectacular, I'm sure. But before we get there, do we want any of these? It's not a particularly strong set of cards. Like, I'm actually looking at the Plunder Poro, because if we don't start with it in our hand, we can draw it at cost 0, and then just play it and immediately cycle it away. So I think that's where we kind of stand. It's a similar boat for Yibin Ward, though. And then having the skills attached to it's probably just a little bit better. It's probably like right on the border of like a trade away. It's probably just like slightly close enough to be not worth a reroll. But all right, I'm usually pretty happy to give Annie Overwhelm. If she gets any bonus stats or if she levels up, you kill the unit with the Molten Shield, and then she still gets to punch in her damage. Again, it's not like super strong, but it's good enough to not want to re-roll it away. All right, onto a Warlord's Horde battle. So the foe summons a Warlord's Horde. When the foe's Warlord's Horde counts down to 0, they steal a mana gem from the player and then summon a new Warlord's Horde. Got it. It tends to be a go tall deck. These decks try to get a lot of value out of putting a bunch of stats or a bunch of abilities onto a single unit. And then when you're able to take that unit down with a Disintegrate, they have to kind of restart and redo all of their plans. But we hard mulligan for Annie. Didn't find her again. Life is tough. Life is hard. But we did draw a 6/6. I guess he's reasonable for the turn. It's not our attack token. Fine. Oh, he's still bringing it. Okay. Was that the first time someone attacked us? I can't remember if I talked about the Kaisa ability to where when the foe attacks, you get their strongest attacking unit a random keyword. That's why his unit gained lifesteal there. Can't remember if that was the first attack or not this game. Okay. God, I didn't even realize the misfortune power just does 2 because of our Annie ability. So incredibly strong. Go ahead and keep the Sandstone Charger out of combat. All of our units look safe at this point. Cool. Really bringing it, huh? All right, and then we're in a fantastic spot now. Misfortune also works really nicely with Disintegrate. Don't have to actually do the combat damage to get our units slamming in. Ooh, nice, nice. Everything's looking good here. Guess we could have played these Crackshot Corsairs a little bit earlier to get in a few more points of damage. I wanted to see if we were going to be able to need to like play a Disintegrate or something, but looks like we could have potentially hit exact lethals. Maybe he could have moved this Soothsayer block around. But we're looking pretty strong. Opponents out of cards. These hordes are nowhere near flipping. I think we're set to take this one down. Yep, Inner Sanctum's not going to do it, my dude. Oh, it's still attacking. Okay. You gotta give it maximum effort, I guess. Not the strongest of plays, but maybe the highest of effort plays. Oh, you fucking kidding me? God damn it! I didn't get our units close enough to the board to make the attack. All right, let's just do this then. I mean, whatever. If you're gonna take it away from this game, then we'll just get the burn lethal. All right, well, if that's our misclick for the trial and we can recover okay, maybe everything will be fine for the remainder. Okay, so what are we adding in here? I'm happy enough with the prefect. Things like Ravenbloom Conservatory, we just don't have the time to get Tybalak down. You'll see like the amount of times we play, say, Tibbers. It grows, right? We'll reasonably play Tibbers throughout this adventure, assuming we ever draw Annie, but I don't think we need Tibbers and the Ravenbloom Conservatory like you would see in Constructed. And so over here, happy enough to add in the prefect. The prefects with a little bit of heal is kind of nice as well, especially as we're getting up to this really mana-intensive battle. So, all right, now we have an item chest or a shop. I'm just going to go with the item chest, see if we can't stack up on one of our more powerful plays. And man, Mana Deposit's always good, but House Spider is pretty weak. It's not one of the cards I ever really want in our deck. It's like, it's good enough in that I don't try and just mulligan away House Spider like I cut out of our deck like we do with Mana Soul Students, right? We're going to come up to this healer and just cut Mana Soul Student out of our deck. But it's not something I want to add a bunch of copies in. I'm actually looking at this Yeben Warn down here, since it is like reasonable cycle. It's not a card I really want a whole bunch of, but maybe it would be okay. Let's just cash in a reroll. Much better here. Do we want to just stack the prefects? Spell Shield isn't a super good ability, but this is becoming a decent unit, so I think that's okay. All right, cut a card. Let's get rid of the Mana Soul Student. Rip. On to battle. The Infinite Waltz with Irelia. And so I didn't leave it up there fast enough, but whenever opponent makes a Blade Dance, their strongest unit also attacks with the Blade Dance, and then that ties in with the Kaisa ability, as to where when the foe attacks, you give their strongest attacking ally a keyword. So they attack with the Blade Dance. It gets the bonuses from the Waltz ability, right? Their strongest unit gets 1/1 and it attacks, and then they also get a keyword. And so lots of stuff coming out of that kind of card. But we finally get to start with Annie, and so reasonably strong here. I'll hang on to one Death's Hand since we can cast it off of Annie's spell mana, but it's not usually good enough. Like in terms of the interactivity I say that we need, oh, Jesus, we picked up Smash and Dash, is it doesn't deal enough damage, right? He's going to play Irelia. She's a 5/4. You can't kill her with Death's Hand. And so, like, the Guiles help, but you need, like, better interactivity than Death's Hand.
I dance not to forget, but to remember.
All right, so we can go ahead and just give her a stun. It's going to shut down one of her attacks for the turn, and then she will get to attack with the Blade Dance. She still counts as an attacker even though she's stunned, but we don't have to worry about a second attack coming out of Irelia. And this is what I'm talking about and needing to preserve our health. It's going to take us like a little bit of time to build up a board. And so we need to take like 8 damage there. If we didn't spend the Guile, we would have been looking to take like 15 or so damage. And so it's nice to come into this battle with a buffer, because once we take care of Irelia, this becomes much easier. I'm looking to drop Misfortune, see what opponent does, and then at the end of the day, we can Death's Hand Disintegrate the Irelia. Well, we got to do that right now. Can't have her attacking again. Alright, so we'll get the Blade Dance 1. Dude's ready to block that. Uh-oh. Twin Disciplines. Okay. At least they can't replay any cards. That's the end of their mana for the turn. Okay. We're churning right along, but now you can kind of see, this is what I'm talking about with Annie. And that I'm going to lead off with this stun. It's going to keep his Irelia from just attacking. He's going to Blade Dance, that's fine. But now we can come out and just block stuff with Annie, this Disintegrate-looking Annie that's in our hand, and then regenerate some mana and get some more things going. So it's not like we're just losing out on our champion, but he only has 1 mana now. He can still Flawless Duet. It has a mana potion attached to it. Let's do this. Let's add in the Prefect.
What good's power if you're not going to use it?
Comes the Duet. I think I'm still pretty okay with throwing our Annie away. She is like right at the edge of flipping, but I don't want to take all of this damage. Oh, wow, we hit Lifesteal. That's pretty big. But right, we get our champion right back. We get a bunch of mana while we're at it. Looking fairly safe. This is a scary Gringlade duo, though. We don't have great answers to it. We need like a little bit more interactivity in our deck. Prefect is good. We kind of close. We might be able to just lethal this turn. How bad is this? It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad with this life-stealing Irelia coming in.
Don't hold back.
Okay. I was curious if we were going to be able to lethal this turn. I don't think we have it in us anymore. But let's see how close we can get. I think we just attack. Like, I was thinking I want to just Guile Irelia to keep her out of combat with this lifesteal, but I think we just look now to try and Disintegrate her. So maybe opponent gets, I was gonna say they get clever. They try to get themselves into combat. We might just be lethal now. Yeah, 29 into 26. Okay. Since he doesn't get the lifesteal with the quick attack Disintegrate. GG. That's pretty close. Next turn would have been fairly scary. But this is what I'm talking about. You have to be ready to come into this one early with some good blockers. I was very happy with our 2/5s. And then you need to be able to deal with that Irelia somehow. So Disintegrate does a ton of work. All right, so of course we're adding more Annies. Ooh, Mana Gem Annie. Okay. All right. Well, if you're letting us cheat on mana a little bit, why not let us cheat a little bit more? And okay, so we get a new power. Attack to grow my power to match my health I don't like. I'm okay with the other one, which is grow my health to match my power. It's not great with Annie, but it makes your units much more survivable. What do we think of Hextech Observatory? Each round, the first time you play a spell, refill mana equal to its cost. It's kind of meh, but is it going to be better than a random one is the question. And I guess the other thing to say, I don't know if we can minimize out of this. I like fighting the epic challenging boss in this one, so we're going to find another power up here, and we can potentially use the reroll there. So maybe we just take the Hextech Observatory. It does suck that it puts a landmark on the board, but we can always overwrite that. We're not playing with summons. Okay, I'll take it. Now, here's what I was going to say. Like, Slotbot, that gives us rerolls. I'm not interested. This is a adventure that Annie is pretty good at. If the foe has a landmark, you give the foe's strongest unit +3/+3, and then we tend to have the disintegrates needed to take this thing down. And so I feel like if you're coming in here, depending on the champion and depending on your interactivity, you'll decide if you want to play this. It's not like playing against the Poros to where you just hard avoid it. This is most certainly a winnable one. And I think we're in a decent place to come in and win this battle. And so I'm going to go into the elite one here. And so, of course, it's the vicious enemy bonus. They get 10 health, 1 mana, 1 starting card. And then if the foe has a landmark, the strongest unit gets +3/+3. So round start. It's not something I'd want to say, like, if I was playing Lux, right? If I was playing Lux, I wouldn't want to manage this thing. But this should be okay. Here, no Annie's. Got a hard mulligan for her. Those disintegrates are quite important. We didn't find Annie, but we did at least find a couple of disintegrates for the big units.
Sun's beneath me and wind's behind me. What the same for you? I go.
Oh, and he picks up Tough? Okay. Luckiest rockhopper in the world. Alright, Smash and Dash is going to be good. Wow, Ruin Runner. That's a big unit. I guess we'll just try to trade with it. It takes a long time to wear out that spell shield. I think we're safe. Like, he hasn't been sitting on any landmarks. He's not going to have one for the next turn, and so as things move on, we're doing okay. The downside to this hand is, like, we need a bit of mid-game. Since we're, like, we do have this Disintegrate hand. It's kind of meh. In that it just doesn't really do anything. It's going to start getting bonuses. Okay. I think we need to play the Guile. We're not going to Disintegrate anything this turn, and it'll help our Prefect to grow.
Come on. That all you got?
This Prefect is going to have to do some work this game. There's Annie. Better late than never. Alright, so I think we're okay to just get rid of the Hextech Observatory at this point. The question is, do we want to just go ahead and run out the Spellslinger? And it's like, nah. Well, so we need to protect our Prefect, I think. So let's do this. Let's Guile the big one. We'll Spell Sling the other big one, and then we should get a good attack with the Prefect. F. Come on, dude.
The bite doesn't hurt. The venom sure does.
Alright, well. I hope we have enough late game to get through this. We need a Misfortune or some card generation or something. Okay, he's not going after the Prefect, though. That's pretty positive for us. Alright, we did lose out on a lot of our smaller plays. They could have been useful with these disintegrates, but I think this is okay. We can just throw away our Annie if we need to. Ooh, wow, we picked up another one. Gonna take down his fearsome unit. This is not the hand that we are looking for. The hand just completely full of disintegrates. We're definitely looking to just throw away our Annie this turn. He does not want this prefect to die. We're losing Annie. Got a big overwhelm to the left, but I think that's okay. Gotta start dropping some disintegrates. I don't really want to be shuffling Annies into our deck, so let's play these over here to the left. Oh, we don't even need to, right? It's not going to do anything. Okay. Okay, give me something good, deck. Misfortune. I guess that's the best we could ask for. Are we deep? No. I thought we'd be a lot closer. And then I don't think we need to be clever with Guile. Like, we really want him to just block with anything and everything so we can drop all these disintegrates. So I'm not going to play Guile here. I'm just kind of welcoming the blocks to come in. Okay, we're playing not Annie's disintegrates. We're playing the other two. I don't want to shuffle Annie's into our deck. All right, that really turned things around. I feel a lot better now. X-Core Foundry, okay. We're the ones that need to be drawing some cards. That feels pretty good. So here, if he opens on us, I'm fine to just throw Annie at the unit. I think we're good. We can cycle out Ye Been Warned here if we need to. Everything's looking okay. That was a scary one. I don't like that we took those big chunks of health right before we get to the boss, but I think we're going to have everything we need to at least get that far. Whew, pick up the Tibbers. Okay. Let's play a Disintegrate. We can go ahead and get all these going. Oh no, we don't actually have to Death's Hand. We have Tibbers in hand. Can we Tibbers and we're going to draw the Prefect off the top? Yeah, that'll work. Okay.
Come on. That all you got?
There's the Disintegrate. Here comes the Tibbers. Now, this is Ye Been Warned, so we'll get to draw a card. We'll play the Prefect. Get our attack in. Everything will be okay. It's nice to get to gain. I guess we're only gaining 2 health because we drew it this turn, but a little bit of heal's better than no heal.
Special, aren't you, Annie?
Smells like burning. Here we go. All right, don't be skipping over this attack. This is an important one to get all of our units into. Can't be like that previous game to where we just missed it. All right. Oof. Nice battle, vicious enemy. Nice battle. So it could have gone a little bit cleaner. We did have that awkward piece to where we drew those early disintegrates and couldn't really use them, but I think at least gives you a good idea that that's a pretty winnable battle if you're following our Annie strategy. So now we'll get a power before we're fighting the big boys here. That feels kind of nice, and I do like these Ruined Reckoners in this style of deck. We need to be finding, you know, some mid to late game, and the Ruined Reckoner just does a little bit of everything in that it He's going to be big, right? He's got the +2/+2. He's going to strike something when he comes down on board, and then generating the Midnight Raid let us get some additional attacks. I really like what he's bringing to the party. And then he also combos with our Misfortune and giving us additional attacks. All right, not interested in any of these. I guess I could see the argument for picking up Sticky Fingers, since we're like just hurting a little bit for late game and drawing cards out of our opponent's deck could be pretty good. I mean, maybe that's fine to take. And so it's just going to draw us like 4 or 5 cards across the game. If we're going to be real, that should be enough. And then we also have the card draw cost 1 less, and so it's going to be a little bit cheaper as well. All right, so interesting things here. Lord Broadmane has Scout, which works with Misfortune. Greenfang Warden just has Scout all the time, also works with Misfortune. I like that he's kind of meaty as well as the 6/6. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think we want to reroll any of these away. What's our power choice? Give the weakest ally 3/3. That's going to be pretty good. Our units are small, and as we get up to Kaisa, her units can kind of grow out of nowhere. And so I'm also going to come up here and pick up these Greenfang Wardens. I don't think we need any of this other stuff, right? Things are already expensive as it is, and so I don't want to add more expensive cards to our deck. We don't need Minion. We're going to get rerolls anywhere else. If we go right, what's this? Champion item chest? An epic version? That's probably where we want to save our reroll for. What's this encounter? Emperor's Guard? Not sure if I've collected that one. Okay, yeah, I pulled it up on the site. I'm going to go up to the Emperor's Guard because I don't believe this is not one I've collected yet. It should be giving us something out of the Emperor's deck. I mean, that's what would sound likely. But I think if you're just going for the victory, you should go towards this item chest. Hopefully, we'll survive with 1 less copy of Annie in our deck before we get to Kaisa. But I'm going to go up here, fight the Emperor's deck, and see what we can get. And so here, the foe summons the Grumpy Rock Bear, gives it +3/+2, and then they summon a Hibernating Rock Bear. This is another battle which it's very strong having Disintegrates. And so hopefully we can start off with an early Annie, and then just have all the Disintegrates we need against this one. All right, well, no Annies for us today. Interesting, he's playing the Clockwork Curators this early. He does not have any landmarks on the board. There's one.
I'm done being scared. It's their turn.
We have the +3/+3 bonus, so we're ready to fight this thing if we have to. It says no, thank you. I'm not ready for that. We should probably be getting it into combat. I'm looking at this turn. We're going to play Annie. She's going to give us 3 mana. Let's just start with Annie, and we can think about it as we go along. I was looking to get both prefects of ours on the board. Looks like that's going to be accepted accepted by opponent.
What good power?
I would like to go ahead and play some spells. We'll target this thing because we can. We'll get a mana back out of the Hextech thing for this. Don't want Annie. I guess the Death's Hand is, like, okay. I'm not excited about it, but it's a bit of interactivity coming into a turn to where we're about to start generating Disintegrates. And so being able to disintegrate down one of these giant rock bears is probably important enough to factor in. Now we can play the Spell Slinger.
The bite doesn't hurt. The venom sure does.
He's doing stuff I don't care about. And then I'll trade away our little spider into the Curator. Let one of our other... It should be letting our Annies grow from this point forward.
I'm going for a walk.
With our +3/+3 power.
Come on. That all you got?
All right, we're looking pretty strong. He really needs that Clockwork Curator back to get his rock bears going, but I think we made it through. Alright, go ahead and drop Smash and Dash. He's got his big rock bear. Not worried about it. Death's Hand. Disintegrate. That's exactly why we kept you, friend. That's what you're here for. Gonna go ahead and Guile this turn, just to grow our units a little bit, and then we'll see if we can win with an open attack. We're kind of far away from that. We might need to Guile one of his rock bears, Tibbers one of his rock bears, and then we can attack with everything. Well, I think we're probably a little short just right here at the start. We can look, though. We can also, like, disintegrate in the middle of combat if we need a plus attack or something, but let's see. 39 coming in. He's got 13, 17, 23. I think we're technically close enough, but I'm just going to play it safe.
Come on. That all you got? You can do better than
Disintegrate Dum-Dum. Gives us some more spells, and then when we play Tibbers, it's going to deal damage to the Rock Bear and take it down. I mean, given the way opponent's playing, there is maybe realistic reason to just leave it, since he doesn't seem really interested in filling his board back out. He doesn't want to overwrite anything, and so we might actually get less damage in this way, given the way the AI is performing, but well, if he's just adding Rock Bears, or if he's adding the actual landmark, doesn't matter. Alright, dude. Big damage. Here it is. Nice. Okay, onto the Emperor's deck. Again, I think that's what it does. I think it's an Emperor's deck thing. I can't remember if I've hit this encounter before. I know they added 5 new ones in with the new expansion. But I don't think this was one of them. I just think I haven't encountered it. But by the name, it should be pretty clear that that's what it does, is pass out Emperor's deck cards. So let's see. Choose a card from the Emperor's deck with a random item. Add 4 copies of it to your deck. That's a bunch of copies. So what are we going to do with these? We do have a reroll if we want. The Emperor's Guard is, of course, the cheap one to be looking at. This is pretty good with the ephemeral ability summoning attached to it. Otherwise, I think everything else is a little bit too expensive. I'm not worried about card draw at this point, since we have the nab ability. Maybe we just re-roll this. All right, I'm re-rolling it. Ooh, much better Emperor's Guard now with the capture attached to it. Don't think we need to obliterate a follower. I would rather just have the unit that does the same thing. And Golden Herald's a little bit too expensive. Okay, so Emperor's Guard, welcome to the deck. 4 copies of you are much appreciated. And then I could see an argument here for just healing. As it's like, maybe we have enough expensive stuff. I forgot we picked up that Ruined Reckoner. I'm leaning towards just taking out the Island Navigator. I don't suspect we're ever going to flip Misfortune. And, like, flipping her is not super important anymore, since we already have the Annie ability that makes her deal 2 damage instead of 3. The jump from 2 to 3 isn't nearly as big as 1 to 2, and I think just this Misfortune flip probably not happening. So on to Kaisa. The foe grants each of their units +1/+1 and a keyword at round start. So you have to try and clear out their board as much as you can. We don't have very much interactivity, so they do have the means to just get out here and get ahead of us. But as I say, if we start with Annie, that's going to go a long way. And then if we can find some of those Emperor's units, that's going to help as well. So I'll keep our singular copy of Annie, mulligan everything else away. Just try to find some of our interactive stuff. We just want to take the 5 here. We don't have good combats this turn, but things start to improve much more next turn with Misfortune. But man, both of these dum-dums hit tough. Okay. Whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. Not quite ready to be pulling off rallies with the Boom Crew rookie. But he should be ready to start it up as soon as he comes down. What's this Kaisa ability? Titan's Axe just gives it +3/+3. That's pretty good. Alright, so his units grew. Definitely want to get Misfortune going.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
Guess we're getting a rally. Dang. Alright, so I feel like we need to at least try and get both of his units off the board. I'm going to go ahead and play You've Been Warned. So we can try and take some of this down. Let's put the hook onto Voidling. Do we want to pick up any of this stuff next turn? Leaning towards the Ruined Reckoner. We already have one, but that the fight abilities are so strong there. And then I'm playing our Fleeting Disintegrate for this turn. I feel like we need to just have these in our hand at this point. And so if we're hitting additional Annies, I think it's like okay for right now. To where, you know, at some points you're just like, well, I don't want to draw Annies. I feel like we need her at this stage just so we have a way to try and shut down some of their big units. A little dangerous giving him the snow hair since it's going to get stats, but I think this is okay.
I can almost taste the void. I know what they are. I know how to destroy.
All right, Kaisa's ready. Does she have Spell Shield? She doesn't have Spell Shield or a way to get it. Then we can take her down with the Ruined Reckoner plus a Disintegrate. I'm going to lead out with a Guile because it's too slow otherwise to say play the Disintegrate, then they just get to attack, then we play our Ruined Reckoner. And so I think we can start with the Guile. They probably won't attack at this point, and then we can get the Ruined Reckoner going. This is the last turn. I'm going to spend a Fleeting Disintegrate on this. It's not quite your time, Tibbers. Not quite. See ya, Kaisa. Right, well, this is the way to get your misfortunes going. You just take the free attacks. And he should be playing the second skin. If you're not familiar, the second skin does still boost Kaisa's, even though she's not on the board. I think we're safe. Well, it's like I'm looking at the Disintegrates, and oh, the Void Seeker is going to deal 2 damage because of our Annie ability. Okay, perfect. All right, we're looking pretty strong now. I think we're gonna take this one down. Gonna get a bunch of free card draw off our Ruined Reckoners and stuff. I think we're good to go, fam. This is why you got to be a little bit careful in terms of adding a bunch of Annies to the board. She does come back to your deck. At least the Disintegrates are always pretty useful. So you're a 5/5. All right. Well, the Reckoner's just going to trade. Not a bad way to spend the turn, though. All right, all the flip stuff happening. Looking good. Oh, just lethal, huh? Planned it that way. And so GG, not a bad run through the Kaisa adventure. A little bit scary in there going the vicious enemy route, but I think for the most part that's a pretty safe path to take, at least with Annie, right? If you're following the strategy we put forth of stacking Annie with the fleeting copies that come to hand, using the fleeting copies to generate disintegrates, and then using disintegrates to take down all of our opponent's tall units. I think that's pretty good and safe. Again, the things to kind of like watch out for though are as you go into it's not Evelyn, the other champion round, whatever her name is, Irelia. As you go into Irelia, ideally you'll be pretty close to 30 because you're going to have to take some chunk damage. And so before her, you should look to prevent damage as much as you can. And then as you kind of progress towards the end, you need to be able to deal with the go tall strategy. And so if you're not following this disintegrate kind of thing, I'm not sure how you want to interact with your opponent's units, but if you're following with our disintegrate plans, then ideally you're just looking for a way to deal some damage so that you can kill the unit with the disintegrate at that point. But pretty easy run through nonetheless. Had some highs and lows and some dangerous points, but we made it through at the end with victory. And so that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. You learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.